everyone, how are you doing? It's Jen with Timeline Tarot, and this is your bonus Mercury Cazimi message. It is a collective general reading, so as the messages come through today, take what fits, leave what doesn't, because if it's not your message, it simply means it is meant for someone else to hear. And please check your other placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus. And if you're not sure what those placements are, in the description box of this video is a link where you can obtain your free birth chart. So before we begin, I wanted to give you a little breakdown on what this means for you. So on July 12th, 2026, there will be a Mercury Cazimi in Cancer. The astrological event occurs when Mercury, the planet of communication and the mind, forms an exact conjunction with the sun. The term Cazimi comes from an Arabic phrase which means in the heart of the sun. While planets close to the sun are usually weakened or combust, a planet sitting perfectly inside the sun's precise core is believed to become supercharged, illuminated, and even purified. Because this alignment takes place while Mercury is in retrograde in the sensitive water sign of Cancer, it functions as a powerful mental reset. So the Cazimi will act as a new moon phase for the mind, lifting the typical confusion of Mercury retrograde to bring a sudden intuitive hit of clarity. Taking place in Cancer, this event focuses heavily on the home, family dynamics, childhood memories, as well as your sense of emotional security. Many people experience an epiphany or receive a clarifying message regarding ongoing personal issues, financial reorganization, or domestic situations. Traditional astrologers view the brief hours of the Cazimi window as an ideal time for intention setting and critical communication. You can use this energy to journal your breakthroughs, have an honest conversation to resolve a conflict, or reorganize areas of your life that have felt stuck. So with all of that said now, let's begin. Hello, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. Let's take a look at your Mercury Cazimi message. Now for you, Capricorn, specifically the area of impact will be romantic and professional partnerships. The truth may come out of the closet in some of your relationships. And what I mean by that is there could be a breakthrough conversation. And that could either bring you closer to this person or give you the clarity you need to redefine the terms of the connection, or maybe even take steps to move away from it. And again, this could be in your romantic connections or your professional connections. I just saw the Saturn card, and you are ruled by Saturn. So let's see where we go with this. But there, again, when I said out of the closet conversation, it's sort of like something that you have been suppressing that you're finally going to say, or maybe something that they've been suppressing that they will finally say. So tell me more about this here, please, for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. What do they need to know for their Mercury Cazimi message for July 12th, 2026? One more shuffle. Thank you. We have Affluence, card number 5. And we have Truth. There you go. Card number 25. Okay. So there is some truth, or will be some truth that is spoken between you and an individual where there is affluence. Okay. So you work for them or they work for you, because you could be the employer or the employee. Or again, this could be someone that you have a family with, a marriage with, wealth with, or maybe that's what you would like to have with them. Tell me more about this here for Capricorn. Why do we have affluence and truth as their message here for the Mercury Cazimi on July 12th, 2026? One more shuffle. Thank you. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Wheel of Fortune. It's like this is the time to have this conversation. Ace of Cups, that is the truth. If you've seen my readings before, immediately after I say something and I see an ace, there are only 4 in a deck, I feel like I was able to channel that message correctly. Ace of Swords. Okay, thank you very much. The Chariot and the Page of Cups at the bottom of that. Queen of Pentacles, that's you, whether you're masculine or feminine. We have the Fool, and look at this, the 7 of Swords to the Tower to the 3 of Swords. I'm going to have to take this. 5 of Pentacles to the 2 of Cups. I know, I took more cards than I should. So in this spread, the bottom of the deck is the underlying energy, okay? And the underlying energy here is, I have a group of you that really want to talk about what went down. And you feel, and I don't want to put anything in your head, I'm just telling you what I see here. I have a Capricorn collective who says, I may be able to have a new start with this person. But first we have to discuss the 7 of Swords, and I don't know if that was something they said or something they did, that created this Tower moment and broke your heart or left you feeling wounded or isolated. And you value this connection enough, or so it seems, to say, we may be able to rebuild this from the ground up, but this needs to be discussed. I need the truth about this, veiled. I need to make sure nothing else is being hidden from me, that I have the absolute truth, because without the absolute truth, then I don't have absolute clarity, and then I can't make a decision that is in my best interest. I'm just channeling here, so if it's not your message, don't be offended. Let's begin to clarify. Six of Wands. Clarify the Six of Wands. One more shuffle. Thank you. Six of Wands is clarified by the Star, the Two of Cups, and Judgment, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, I don't know why this is coming to me, and I always feel like when there's a memory or something of mine that comes up in a reading, it's important for me to say it. It's not me trying to make your reading about me. I have no Capricorn placements, neither does my person. But someone needs to hear this. So my person was very honest with me from the beginning, okay, that prior to me, he had had an affair in his marriage. And he wanted me to know. I would have never known. I had, you know, I don't know her. I don't know that old life, past life of his. But he wanted to be honest with me. There should be full transparency in a relationship, especially if you're trying to overcome a betrayal where maybe a third party was involved. And I'm not saying that's going to solve all your relationship problems, because there's one thing about, you know, there's a difference between having privacy and there's another thing about being transparent, and we have found the way to do both. And I just feel like some of you may be dealing with that. Wheel of Fortune, one more shuffle. Thank you. Wheel of Fortune is clarified by Four of Swords. There's that Ace of Swords again, and the Queen of Swords. Ace of Cups. One more shuffle. Thank you. Ace of Cups is clarified by Ten of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. Ace of Swords. Clarify that Ace of Swords. One more shuffle. Thank you. Three of Wands, Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. Tell me the Chariot. One more shuffle. Thank you. Chariot is clarified by the Six of Swords. There's that Tower. And the Eight of Wands. I don't think you ever fully discussed the Tower with this person. One more shuffle. Thank you. Page of Cups is clarified by the King of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and the Four of Cups. Bottom of the deck, the Chariot. The feeling that I get here is that this person clearly did something that they should not have done. I think this was more than words. Okay, I think this was stepping out of the connection, lying by omission, keeping some type of truth from you, veiled, okay, like not telling you the full truth. So lying by omission, betrayal, maybe even financial betrayal. You're going to have to take it how it resonates to you. And I have a feeling that there were a lot of discussions about the aftermath of the Tower. Like maybe how it made you feel or how it ruined the relationship. But I think this needs to be reverse engineered. If this is your reading and you want to be affluent, meaning successful with this, we sort of have to reverse engineer this and go back to the beginning and find out why that Tower happened. Because the lie didn't create the Tower and the affair didn't create the Tower. There were already cracks in the Tower that we weren't acknowledging. So there's something here about, we can talk about the Seven of Swords to the Tower to the Three of Swords, but we have to talk about why those things happened. And I think why they happened were there were other issues in the connection that we were not being honest or truthful about. And it could just be like resentment builds over the years, or we lose intimacy, or, you know, it could be a whole host of things. But I feel like we can discuss this ad nauseum, but it doesn't fix the foundational problem. Because the Seven of Swords created the Tower that split it in half, but the whole foundation here was cracked already. So there were already breaks in this connection. Anyway, what I see here for you is I have a group of Capricorns that really would like to have success and victory and heal a connection with this person. And if it's not your reading, check another placement. But I have a group of you would really like to fix this or try to heal the connection. The Wheel of Fortune is clarified by the Four of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. But there's something like we need to talk about not just what happened in this moment, what led you to doing this? Like, what led this person to doing this? Like, that's what needs to be discussed. Because I think you have a lot of love for this person and a lot of affection. And I don't know who this is. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It doesn't have to be a spouse. You know, it could be a boss that royally screwed you over. But something occurred before the boss royally screwed you over. There were things that led up to them royally screwing you over. That's what I'm talking about. Those little things. I'm looking at the Three of Pentacles, and there's like all breadcrumbs, like little pentacles. And I feel like there were little things here. Yes, underneath the surface, High Priestess. There were little things. There were little breaks. There were little fractures already in this connection. And if there's any hope here of salvaging this, I feel we have to go back to the beginning. I think that's why we have so many aces here, plus the Fool card. Like even this, if we work it backwards, we have to go back to when you actually entered this connection and like take it from there. I do think that you have an important conversation here that could occur on July 12th or in the energy there of that Mercury Cazimi, but it will be dependent on you to bring it up. I don't think this other person is going to bring it up. I think they're receptive if you bring it up. And again, I don't think this has to be a finger pointing. And I think I said that in your 6-month reading. It doesn't have to be you did this. We did something that led you to making the bad decision of doing this. I got to be honest, there's a little ownership here. And you might be like, it's not my fault that they stepped out. No, but there were other things wrong with the relationship that maybe you didn't want to talk about or notice, or there were red flags that you ignored. So that's what I mean by like, we broke something and neither of us acknowledged it. And you did the worst thing you could have done was you went towards someone else to fix something that we broke. So again, how they handled it was wrong, but I feel like there's got to be a we conversation here. Like we have to come together. There are two horses here in the Chariot. For us to move forward, we both have to own this. If there's any hope, I notice on the Six of Swords card, the word running down the side says hope. I never think of that in terms of meaning for the Six of Swords, but yeah, in order to leave this behind and move towards calmer waters, if you will, then I think we have to not just discuss the tower, but how did we arrive at the tower? And then I think there's a real possibility here of fixing this. So yeah, I think it's time to have a truthful conversation. And that means you might hear some uncomfortable things, but if you want to fix this, it's important to know what you did and what they did. And then we can get into this. But I think the little cracks here need to be addressed. Where am I going next? Let me get you some advice. But I still get the feeling here that we really have to understand the cracks beforehand, and we may have to hear some uncomfortable truths about that. Because I remember asking him, what made you have the, affair with the first wife? And he said, within a year and a half of the marriage, I realized I made a huge mistake. And I said, why didn't you say anything? And he goes, I married late in life. I was in my 40s, and my parents, my family, and she was in her 40s, and her parents and family, they all were like, you guys just got to get married because you're just, you're in your 40s. Like you have to do it. And he's like, I didn't want to disappoint her family or mine. And he's like, but it was a loveless relationship, like from like literally a year in. And I was like, and you didn't want to have the conversation? Like, really? Like this, you did this? You did this. Instead of having the conversation, he goes, I didn't want to have the uncomfortable conversation. I was like, ugh. And he's like, I would never do that again. Like I ruined years of my life and hers, and like I would never do that again. And I could tell he was genuinely remorseful about it, but it was still the point of, and that's what I mean, like there might be some uncomfortable truths that you may have to hear. But if you want to fix this, I would be open to them, because there is a possibility here to fix this. Let's get you 3 cards of advice. One more shuffle. Thank you. The 5 of Swords, the 7 of Wands, and the Page of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the Hierophant. I don't know who this is to you, someone you're married to, long-term committed partnership. It could be the corporation or company that you work for, community group, political group, religious organization. I don't know who this other entity is, but you in order to heal this, and if that's what you want to do, you're going to have to kind of lower your guard here, okay? And just listen to what this person has to say. The Page of Wands is just, okay, I'm in this state of discovery, and I'm going to hear everything you have to say, and I'm not going to have my walls up, and I'm not going to turn around and fight or say any cutting words. I'm just going to discover what you believe my role was in the breakdown of this connection. And then I need you to hear what I believe was your role in the breakdown of this connection. It has to be very honest and truthful, and there can't be any defensiveness or cutting words or anything. And again, notice that page, how young it is. Like, we literally have to go back to the beginning. This is sort of like reverse engineering what occurred here. But if you're willing to lower your guard and have an honest conversation, I still continue to think this is salvageable for you. The Hierophant, the Nine of Swords, and that Page of Pentacles, it's just listening. Just listening to the other person. Because existing in this, and the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Swords, and not addressing what happened isn't going to fix this. And blaming the Seven of Swords to the Tower isn't going to fix this either. We have to understand what made the person do that. And it might require hearing some uncomfortable truths. Reflection. We might have to look at an aspect of ourselves that says, yeah, maybe I played a little role in this. Again, not full responsibility, but maybe there were different things that I could have done. What is that Willie Nelson song? You Were Always on My Mind. I would listen to that song. That's just channeled through. Maybe that's something that you want to listen to. Listen to those words. Because it's like, maybe I should have treated you, and maybe I should have told you. And again, it doesn't mean that that's all your fault, but I would have an honest conversation here. So find better ways to improve yourself through reflection. And at the bottom of the deck, we have enlightenment. Okay? Gain deep understanding and insight, opening the door to new wisdom. I think this is a healable connection, but again, you might have to hear some uncomfortable truths, and they may have to as well from you. But this could occur, or at least begin to occur, on July 12th. That is what I have for you, Capricorn. If you like those messages and they resonated with you, you want to claim all or part of them, please be sure to click like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hype the video if you're able to do that. And don't forget to check out your other placements. Until I read for you again, I am wishing you light, love, and peace.